Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today, day 6 of this Inkvent calendar red edition by Diamine. So let's see what is behind the door or window number 6. And okay, it's called Winter Spice and it is a brown ink, at least that's what it seems. So Winter Spice, and it says here it has shimmer and sheen, and cannot see well, but maybe some purple sheen over brown ink. It may be nice. Let's see. So that is what we are going to see next, so please stay there and I'll be right back to show you the properties of this ink for day number 6. So let's make the swatch of this ink. We need to shake it well because this one has shimmer and it has sheen, so we need to be sure it is well mixed to have all the shimmer in suspension. Let's put the cap away. Let's pick our pipette and put 3 drops of ink. 1, 2, 3. Put the rest of the precious liquid back into the bottle. Let's cap the little bottle, put it aside, so it's now safe. Grab the Victorinox knife and let's see how the swatch of this pen looks like. So far it looks like a nice brown, at least in the places where there is less ink. So we will see how this will look when it is dry. So we'll wait for this to dry and I'll be back to show you the rest of the review. So let's see how this interesting Winter Spice Shimmer and Sheen ink behaves on the swatch, and it is kind of surprising to see this. A brown ink with a blue, a very heavy blue shimmer. So this is fun. About the sheen, I ripped the paper there. But about the sheen, I have some trouble to see it. It looks like a black, greenish black sheen in a very heavy blue shimmer. So I don't see that much the sheen on the swatch, but we can see the shimmer perfectly. So this is quite uncommon to me, this kind of color scheme. And let me show it next to other brown inks. So one of my favorite inks is the Parker Quink Brown, which is a dusty brown, not this kind of chocolate color. Very nice. We have the Kaweco Caramel Brown, which is much darker, more similar to the Parker Quink. We have the Diamine Sepia, which is much lighter. The Herbin Lieu de Thé, which has a more warm tone that may be closer but not the same. And finally, one ink that may be similar in a way, which is the Diamine Inkvent Calendar 2019, the number 5 triple chocolate, but not the same shade, a little more red. So this is kind of a unique color and with a very unique shimmer, in my opinion. This is very unusual and kind of unexpected. Brown ink with blue shimmer. Now let me put the light a little stronger and let's see the swatch, the chromatography. The chromatography shows us lots of stuff. First, it shows that it has the shimmer. You can see the shimmer on the line, and you can also see it has some water resistance because most of the color is there. Then, if a part was washed up into the chromatography, but it still remained. It's not just an empty clear part, so it has several degrees of water resistance. It has some brown, kind of pink, yellow, and green, blue. So this color is really rich, as you can see here, and has some water resistance, which may be interesting for some of you. Now, let's take a look at the paper. I would say this is a very saturated ink. That's what we can see here. And let's see how it shows on paper. I have to say, first of that, I forgot, I have to show you the pens that I chose, and that makes some difference. I have here this pen because I thought it would be interesting based on the swatch. This is a Moonman M600S, and this is, I don't know the real the color name, but it is brown and blue, and I thought brown and blue would be a nice fit. And this pen has a fine nib, a steel fine nib, and I can see that ink is getting a little clogged on the feet. And then I also chose this very special pen that I truly love, the Pentel Samurai, made of ironwood with a beautiful urushi coating. And this pen has a steel medium nib, and the behavior is so different. And that's what we're going to see, the difference between Moonman fine nib and respective feet, and a Yovo nib and feet, medium nib and feet. So let's take a look. We have the inks here, and first thing we can see is that the Pentel has a wider line. So let's start with this little swatch. You can see some shimmer, but not the bluish one. I made this little rectangle with the Moonman. In the writing sample, it's very hard to see the shimmer. But when we go to the Pentel, wow, that's amazing. You can see all the shimmer in a point that the ink doesn't look any brown anymore when we write with it. It really, sorry, these papers are messing up with the focusing. So you can see the ink is very well behaved. It doesn't feather. It's very strong. It looks brown here. It looks very dark brown with the Pentel. This is the line where it changed. So it behaves very well on paper. But when you do this, you don't see the shimmer with the Moonman. But, where is that? You can see the shimmer with the Pentel. And you can see more on the first strokes when you're writing because more ink is on the nib and more shimmer is on the nib. You can see there is some bleed through mostly with the Pentel. And let me go first to the Oxford paper. You can see some sheen there, not very heavy, and it's hard to see it is blue. Also here, very hard to see the shimmer with the Moonman, but then with the Pentel, this is just amazing. This is with the Moonman, the shimmer almost invisible. The Pentel, the shimmer is very visible, but less visible on Oxford paper than on Moleskine, and I would say that's because Moleskine is more absorbent paper. Here, no bleed through. One thing that I noticed is that the shimmer seems not to go through the channels of the feed, and so you don't find it here, and when you're writing with this pen it tends to skip after a while. So I think that the feed is getting clogged by the ink. I'm not worried. This is just a Moonman, a cheap feed. I can take it all apart and clean it, but I just wanted to show that I think this will clog the pen completely. And here we have the Navigator paper. The ink looks a little darker than in the other two papers. That's my opinion. These are those kind of things that are not easy to understand on camera. And let me show you. I don't see the shimmer again. And when we go to the Pentel, we can see a little bit more shimmer, but not much in this paper. Just a wider line with the Pentel, and there is no bleed through. So this is how it behaves on paper. So it is interesting. It is an interesting ink with it in its color, in its characteristics, and I think this ink will need a pen with a generous flow, with a feed that allows the shimmer to go through and to have that good flow that will show you the shimmer. Otherwise, you won't see it. That's what happens with the Moonman. Now, the pens are here for a little bit, resting. So let's see how they behave on Rhodia paper. But first, let's see the other characteristics as the drying time. And the drying time, you can see it is very, very fast. With 5 seconds, it didn't smear anymore. So it dries almost immediately, which is very nice. And again, with the Moonman, where is the sheen? I don't know. The shimmer, I don't know. And even the sheen. Now, about water resistance. As usual, I made the line, let it dry, dropped a few drops of water, then cleaned with a paper tissue, and you can see that it smears. It gets ugly, yes, because part of it is not water resistant, but most of the ink is water resistant, and you will be able to read everything even when wet. So this may be a nice feature that some people enjoy. Now let's see how the two pens right here, and let's see if we can have a proper ink flow or the shimmer will be visible. So this is the Moonman, and let me write the quick brown fox jumps over. I see that the line is very inconsistent. It was wet there, very dry here, now wetter again, over the lazy dog. So this ink doesn't really work on this pen. It's very strange. You feel that sometimes it almost isn't writing and then it writes again. It's not that visible, but you can feel it when you're writing. So this is the Moonman. Now with the Pentel, which is a magnificent pen. This lighting is awful to show you the pen, but I really love it. So with the Pentel, we have a very generous wet line. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So again, this ink doesn't show much shading at all. It is quite dark, but now let's see. This is the Moonman. Where is the sheen? I'm not sure if it is anywhere. I can't see it. And now we have the sheen, the shimmer. Even the sheen is invisible to me, but the shimmer is visible. And now it is the Pentel, and in this paper it is fun. You can see a little bit there on the first line, but not that much, which is interesting. You cannot see the shimmer. Let me put the light stronger and closer just to check this. Okay, the shimmer is not that visible, but you can see it in some places here on the Moonman, and it is coherent with what I said. I think sometimes, like here in this brown, you don't see much, and sometimes it looks like a big portion of the shimmer was dumped into the line, like you can see here on the dog. And with the Pentel, you can see the blue shimmer there. I think you can see. I would say that maybe the shimmer in this ink is a little bit too big and may have some flow issues. I'm not saying it will damage your pens, but I think it will not flow in an even way. At least I think that would happen. Maybe if you are writing for a long time, a long text, it will have more a consistent line, but with this kind of testing that I made here, we can see some sheen in some places and some other places I don't, and I think the Moonman is not really the right pen to show this. So this is an ink that I like, very uncommon, but it needs the right ink and right paper to show. So this is all I had to show you today, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.